You guys, we got to speak to the people behind Apple TV Plus's Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Check out our conversation with director Matt Shakman.
Right off the bat, can I ask you what you looked at when you were planning your approach to directing this thing? Because there are some very interesting directors that have taken on the franchise, and all of them have had a very different approach. And so, you've got the Gareth Edwards and the Vogt Roberts stuff, and then you've got the original Toho stuff, and then you've also got the Roland Emmerich disaster movie style. Was there anything that you were leaning towards?
Well, the thing that was so special about Monarch to me, and one of the reasons why I was drawn to it, is that it was about the human perspective. It wasn't existing up in the stratosphere with these monsters as they were battling each other, which is fantastic, and I love those movies. But it was about how being on the ground and witnessing these traumatizing events affects people's lives. And that dictated so much of my style because I wanted to have a human-centric, point of view driven way of looking at the monster world. But I also was telling a story that existed in many different timelines and intersected in interesting ways with the films that had already been made, especially in the Monsterverse. So looking at Gareth's movie, looking at Jordan's movie, wanting to make sure that when I was creating scenes that could have been happening in their movie, that I was honoring their stylistic choices, their cinematographic choices.
It's a weird word.
It's a long one. You get what I mean. They're honoring their style. Because I wanted to feel like the scene on the Golden Gate Bridge and the pilot or the scene on Skull Island are scenes that could have been in those movies. They were happening during the events of those movies. We just didn't see it in those movies. And so it was important to make sure that we were touching base with those styles.
Yeah, when you killed a school bus full of kids in the first episode, I was like, hey, these guys ain't messing about. This is cool.
Well, obviously that is the one of the main ways into the emotional story of the show. It's Kate's point of view, what's happening to her on that day, the horrendous events in San Francisco on that day. We could have told a story probably about anybody who was on that bridge that day because so many lives were impacted by that. As Gareth's movie was on the other side of the bridge, ours was over here. But I wanted to make sure that we were honoring his continuity and his choreography and that it would sync up with the story he was telling.
Is Kurt Russell Mephisto? No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Tell me this. How did you... I was curious, watching this thing, it looks absolutely incredible. What did you guys use? Did you use the volume or were you on set and on location? Because it doesn't look very CGI, and that's kind of cool.
We were on set and on location as much as we possibly could. We built some sets, obviously, of course, but one of the joys of this is that we were jumping around in many different continents. We were based out of British Columbia, but we visited glaciers from there and deserts from there. We went to Tokyo, which was incredible to shoot Godzilla on the streets of Tokyo.
Right.
Feel like you're really putting yourself into the sort of continuity of Godzilla, which is wonderful. And we went to Hawaii and we ran around in jungles there. And so as a filmmaker, for me, it's always so exciting to have as much authenticity as possible, as many layers of reality, because I think the more layers of reality that you have, the more you will believe the thing that is synthetic in that frame, that it has to be created in a computer. And I think Game of Thrones, I learned so much working on Game of Thrones in trying to do as much practical as possible.
I've got a minute left, so tell me this. Because you're working with such an established franchise, how much are you allowed to play when it comes to the monsters that you've put in?
Quite a bit. We obviously want to honor the kaiju that are established, Godzilla first and foremost, but others, and that was part of it. They have been a part of my life, and I want to make sure that I do right by them. And then we also had the opportunity to create new monsters, which is incredibly exciting to imagine a specific area or a region, what the flora and fauna might be of that region, and then start to find the scariest looking critters in the real world that are out there, and then combine them and make them bigger bigger and add hair and things, and that's how you build a kaiju. And it's a fun process as a filmmaker to be able to add to that canon of amazing creatures.
Oh, it's very, very cool, Matt. And I wasn't sure what to expect going into this, but you guys really delivered. It is a lot of fun. Thank you so much. I'm all out of time. Also, congratulations on Fantastic Four, man. We are so excited about that and can't wait for that to happen.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. What a pleasure. Thank you.
Monarch Legacy of Monsters premieres on Apple TV Plus Friday, November 17th. Check it out. Let us know what you think. Sound off in the comments. And thank you so much for watching.